Hey everyone, Richard here. It's once again the biggest week of the year for CTC and for the e-commerce industry in general, so we're taking a break and we'll be back to our regular episodes next week. In the meantime, we're running a teaser of our admission members only Black Friday Cyber Monday Q&A with Taylor. So if you're looking for some last-minute BFCM advice, this is the place to look. If you enjoy this preview, be sure to check out an admission membership at youradmission.co to see the whole video or hear the entire thing. So, happy scaling, happy holidays, and we'll see you all right here next week.
So we've got a number of questions have already been dropped in here. So we'll start off with the first one, which is Anwar asks, do you tweak cost caps at any point leading up to, during, or after Black Friday Cyber Monday? So maybe you actually give a little background on cost caps too, just for those who don't sort of know about that element of the CTC philosophy. And then kind of,
if you've made it into a CTC webinar and haven't encountered cost controls, then welcome. I mean, it's good to have you. But yeah, so cost controls are just a mechanism for inserting a target expectation into the bidding algorithm for Meta. It allows you to, in various forms, there's 3 different versions of cost controls. There are cost caps, bid caps, and min ROAS as different expectations. And it's just inserting into the process of Meta determining your bid and distribution an expectation of return that helps to protect downside. And so the question of, do you tweak cost caps at any point leading up to or during or after BFCM is a really good question. And I think it's an important way to think about cost control utilization in general, especially around sale moments where when the inputs of your bidding are potentially really variable. So what are the core inputs in the bid? Well, one of them is your ECR, your expected conversion rate. And so what happens if your expected conversion rate deviates from the norm suddenly, meaning let's just for simple math, you have normally a 1% expected conversion rate. And so Meta is bidding on ad inventory with a consideration for the price that they're paying, the CPM, the CTR, the expected click-through rate or the expected action rate, which includes your conversion rate, to get to an output of a modeled bid that hits your conversion target. If suddenly the input of conversion rate were to spike suddenly, what it would mean is that in theory, you'd be able to bid more aggressively on a CPM basis, get more volume, and still get to the same ROAS result. What's dangerous is that in the bid modeling, ahead of a moment where that spike happens, Meta doesn't have that data point to consider. And so what it can do is it can potentially constrain delivery in a moment where you want to open it up. So what I would tend to do in these kinds of situations is, one, it's going to be dependent on your relative data set. So how much data do you have over how long a time and when is your sale launching? But let's assume for the sake of your question, and Anwar, if you want to clarify further the sequencing of the sale, it would potentially be helpful. But I'm going to assume you're talking about a sale that is completely novel to Black Friday, Cyber Monday. In that scenario, I would make sure that I likely open my caps up ahead of that Friday day. Or this is actually a day where there's a contention that you want to be spending on highest volume because you know that the efficiency is going to be there. You have run Black Friday before, you're confident in the outcome, and you really don't want to miss the budget. You don't want to miss the volume. There's an argument for that in those cases. It's going to be very business specific. Do you have LTV? If you have slightly higher acquisition costs, is that okay? Are you cash constrained? In which case it's not. So let's draw one additional distinction, which is if you are bootstrapped and you can't lose money or the bank account's in jeopardy, then I'm probably running bid caps with inflated budgets. This is one of Meta's most commonly proposed ad account structures right now, is bid caps with inflated budgets. What that allows for is the relative change in volume each day and each moment to be accounted for while protecting your downside. So if your Black Friday, Cyber Monday absolutely requires that you hit an efficiency target and don't miss, I'm running bid caps with inflated budgets. If that this is a scenario where if I do, the volume is the most important thing for me in this moment, and I'm confident in my level of efficiency that I'm going to get, there's an argument for some brands to do that on highest volumes or to have your caps higher than you would normally and potentially tighten down as you go. But to make sure that you get to that volume. So it's really business dependent. But if you're running the sale, so novel sale that we've never run before, data plan for 2 weeks. Okay. So this is actually helpful in the sense, Anwar, is that you're actually going to give Facebook some time to see the ECR progressively increase over time. So you're not going to make it. The much harder scenario is when there's sudden change, like one day, massive spike in ECR, then it goes back down. That's a way harder thing to account for than is something that's going to change slowly over time. So if you're running it for 2 weeks, you're going to have less risk of missing those big moments. The other thing to be careful of is the day immediately following a sale. I would always do the opposite, which is that I would assume my ECR and my bid is going to be too high, and I'm going to tighten my cost controls even below the expectation than normal, because we tend to see some of that day after. It takes Facebook a minute to adjust back down to the new estimated conversion rate.
Hey folks, thanks for listening to this preview episode. To hear the episode in full, check out Admission at youradmission.co. That's youradmission.co.